Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special away team edition of Take Three. I'm joined tonight by Jason Davis, commanding officer of the USS Masamune, who has just returned recently from Star Trek Chicago. How you doing, Jason?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. I'm pretty jealous of all those pictures and stuff you were posting from the con.
I haven't been to a Star Trek convention in a very long time, so it was a kind of a good welcome home. It's called Star Trek Missions, which was run is run by Reed Pop, which runs the Star Wars celebrations. So this is their first run of trying to do a Star Trek convention versus their your usual Star Wars shows. So it was interesting being in Chicago, being a Texan. Got up, got ready to get on my flight. It was already 82 degrees outside. It's like, I'm going to wear shorts. So I wore shorts. And by the time I got to Chicago, I was freezing and it was getting ready to snow. So I
Did,
know not to do that again. While at the show, I don't remember the dealer, but they make the coats kind of look like First Contact or Voyager or TNG jackets.
hmm
So I threw down some money for one of those TNG looking type of jackets.
Oh, nice.
So they've got them. They're custom made for men and women, so they're cut for women. And the one of the new products they had was kind of looking like the Wrath of Khan jackets, the full long jackets.
Oh, the field jackets.
Yes, so they kind of had
Oh,
one of those made for the show, and saw a couple people walk around. They weren't cheap, so
oh
they're,
yeah.
they're roughly start probably 250, $300 per
Oh,
jacket since they're custom made jackets, and they're pretty nice. They're heavy. They got pockets on the inside. They zip up, and then you can put your com badge and your pips on it, or whatever you want to put on it. So I picked up one of those. I know at least I won't freeze to death because that that Friday we just got up, went and had breakfast. Actually, was it Friday or Thursday? I think Friday morning. It's kind of a blur now, but we went. They had it where if you wanted to go into the show, you either had to show your vaccinated card or a couple of negative test results. Not the home ones, but from a doctor or whatnot. So that was one of the rules, and they gave you a green Breed Pop bracelet showing that you've been vaccinated. They didn't really care about the passes. All they care about was you were
huh.
vaccinated. It was really interesting. Friday was kind of low key because everybody's kind of getting in from wherever in the states or outside the states to this show. So we just kind of chilled, checked out some of the pieces, walked around the convention center, went back to the hotel. But Saturdays is usually the big day of the show because you'll see costumes galore. All the vendors have already been set up and whatnot, and all their products out. And just kind of everybody's going crazy. As soon as lines were already setting up, they had all lines broken up to VIP and different sets. Then let everybody in, and they had, as soon as you walked in, you had your store, the con store where you can buy T-shirts and lanyards and everything under the sun. As soon as you walked in, and food on the right, and all the vendors just kind of spread out all over in the back. And they had food up top, upstairs too. So, but fan sets was there. Star Trek wines, they were there. Five or six tattooists, and I got to see,
Really?
after the show. Yeah, which is they do that for celebration. So I think they've kind of carried it over. It's like, hey, let's see what Star Trek can do. And man, those guys were constantly. Every time I walked by, they already had someone on the table or in their chair doing tattoos. And
Oh wow.
after the
That's
show,
cool.
you can after a lot of people post on their pictures on Twitter and Facebook, and man, I don't know how many I saw so many great tattoos. of Voyager and the comm badges, and there was a Kirk one, there was a DS9 one. So there was different tattoos from individuals that decided to post it online. So they had a good section of tattooists, and the guy who sold the jackets, Hallmark. Is that Hallmark? Am I saying that right? The ones that does the Christmas ornaments?
Yes, Hallmark.
Okay, they were there. So they were showing off all of their products, the ship, the individual uh, people. You know, they can I guess they interact with one another when they talk to each other. They showed a couple of new stuff that they're working on, so that was kind of neat. Then just basically other, t-shirt vendors and fan tables and collectibles, whatever basically you're looking for. They had a big book company there selling all kinds of various space and Star Trek books as well. Then you can see the back of the show. They did have two exhibits they brought with them. They brought the from season 2 Picard, all the different skulls. Basically they took the skulls from the show and brought them out for this convention to show, hey, we got this cool exhibit of,
There we go.
here's Martok, here's Sarek, here's Dukat, here's a Borg and a Ferengi and stuff like that. So they had those display, so you can kind of get an up close and look versus trying to stop it frame by frame on the TV. But you got a personal up close look at these particular skulls, which I talked to, I think on Twitter, I tweeted to Dave Blass, and he said that the company that did these, it took at least, I think he said about 6 weeks to make these.
I can believe it. I mean,
So yeah, so it took them, I think he said a team of 2 or 3 to create these and get them made up before the episode. Then they just took that set and brought it out to Star Trek missions for people to view. And then in the back, they had the big setup for the Strange New Worlds uh, kind of a walking tour inside of it, where you got to see all the costumes, you got to see the props like the tricorder and the phaser and the communicator and just various things, and you got a really up close and look at the material, so you can just, you're right up to that material and look at it. It's like, wow, that material is showing, deltas or whatever their department is. It's like, okay, their medical or their science or their command. So on those material pieces, especially I think the arms and the neck, they actually had the deltas built into the material. So
I gotta wonder, are they doing that like on purpose just to annoy cosplayers?
I'm kind of thinking that because they
You
just
know,
don't.
it's like they know that there's a bunch of people that their whole job is to be sticklers for detail, and then they throw that at them, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, now what?"
Yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking because years before Cosplay Sky, which is shooting out costumes like crazy and making silly money. Then they finally Paramount sent this huge C&D to the planet and killed just about anything out there that represented Trek in any form if people were trying to make money off of it. So I think now that there are some, companies out there replicating costumes now to a degree, not 100%, but pretty close. That I think they're designing these costumes where, hey, let's add these, even though it gives it a cool factor to the costume, but then at the same time, I think it's a practical thing where, like, hey, if we do this, then it'll be really hard for companies to replicate our products. This here is what we're seeing now. You actually see the deltas into those costumes, but these are actual real costumes, well, especially from the Stranger in the Worlds, from Picard, which are going up for auction through Prop Store.
Oh wow.
So if you're looking to, if you got the money and you want to be as close as accurate as possible, these are the costumes you want to pick up. It was cool to see that, but not a lot. You didn't see any costumes being sold. Um, and there were some shirt vendors, but not that many. So it was kind of surprised. But I know I spent tons of money, buying patches and a jacket and various other products that were floating out there. And just, I think I picked up one autograph, but you can easily spend a couple $1,000s on autographs and photo ops because they had the individual photo ops, but then they had group photo ops, like for Discovery or Picard or
Oh,
stuff like that. So, and I think Shatner was the most expensive. Then James
of
Cromwell
course.
was right down underneath it. So, but his photo ops already sold out. So if you're looking on, and it was the first time I saw a Star Trek convention that had an actual app.
Oh really?
Yes, they had an app, and it was the same. It's the same. It's built out the same way as a Celebration app.
Huh.
But man, you don't have to like. You didn't need a program book. You didn't need anything. All you need to go in is to the app. You can see you can see what the photo times are. You can see when the panels are. You can see that was amazing. I was like, man, finally we got to a point where now we can go to convention. We have an app instead of having to sit and wait or whatever. We can like, okay, I see the photo op changed, so I'll go instead of 2 o'clock, I'll go at 4 o'clock. So there, and it
Amazing.
was a living app. So stuff changes, they got updated and posted through the app.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, and I'm hearing stuff different from people. I talked to people there about Las Vegas versus that show, and it's kind of a night and day because when the show ended, it ended about 5 or 6 o'clock at night, and that was it. There was no activities, no nothing else. For I guess you go to Vegas, there's always something going on. There's Cork's Bar or the Rat Pack or karaoke or something. There was something going on after Vegas. This
Yeah.
this one didn't have, which I was kind of disappointed because a
Hmm.
lot of people were asking the same question. Where's the where's the extra activities? Overall, I think it was a good show and a lot of things to see. I took tons of pictures of various costumes that were out there.
Oh yeah. Let me go and throw some of
Sure,
those
sure. If you
up.
want to share.
There we go.
So, Voyager, and plus, like some of these pictures, you get to see some of the
That's
vendors as well.
that's clever. That's a clever Troy right there, and I can see
Yeah,
Bev in the
she
background.
she did the Troy the whole weekend because I saw her 3 times that weekend in different costumes. But she did Troy because she looks like her.
Yeah. Hey, I know that guy.
Yes, a friend of mine from Dallas. She's part of the Sea Tiger, so I met her up.
Okay.
Yeah, I met her up in Dallas. Said, hey, let's get a picture. So she was like, hey, I'm going up there, but she's also 501st and stuff as well. So I was like, hey, and we talked about the differences between the Star Wars and Star Trek cons and got to hang out. So that was a fun thing. Running into, I was the only person I ran into that I actually knew at the show. I kind of watched out for other people I've met throughout the years to do Star Trek, but didn't really run into people. But I knew she was going to be there. So hey, let's meet up because she was getting ready to
Awesome.
do a photo op. She had a good time, and I think the big what I took from her about the show was just the to be able to have an interaction with a celebrity. The celebrities actually took their time to talk to you versus shuffling it like cattle, and it's like, okay, here's your autograph, go. Here's your autograph, go. They actually
Yeah.
sat and talked to you, and they actually, you could actually take a selfie with them at their table, and she, still did the photo op thing too. Get a professional picture as well. So she gave me her feedback on the show, which was really interesting to take 5 or 6 people and like give me your feedback on the show, and it's just interesting to hear what they got out of it personally from the show.
She's in
People
there
were Niners
somewhere.
there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so I was seeing quite a few Niners uniforms,
Nice.
and the cat from Lower Decks. We had, I think I've seen about two or three of them, different versions of the cat.
Very good TOS Romulan right there.
Yes, there were a group. I think on Friday, the Centurion Romulans with the helmets and everything, they were
Oh,
all dressed
nice.
up. So there was a handful of them
But
walking
yeah,
around
she
on
she
Friday.
looks spot on in her costume.
Yeah, those guys and the Romulan outfits, they killed it. They
Nice.
they look exceptionally well.
I think I've
We
seen her at Gallifrey 1.
It's possible. It was the first time seeing like an 1800s Starfleet
Yeah.
type uniform. I found that kind of unique. So I was like, hey, can I get your picture? That's one thing too. If you just a helpful tip for people out there is like, if you're going to take a picture of someone, ask their permission. It's There's
Yes.
not been just because it could cause troubles or issues or whatever. It's just 99.99% of the time they'll say yes. Just ask permission versus just randomly taking pictures.
Exactly. People need to really take that to heart.
That was the best. I really
Yes.
liked. He was at Vegas last year.
That one killed it.
Yes.
And it just there's just so much to love in that one picture.
Yeah, I was just taking random pictures of individuals. Say, hey, I'd really dig the hair or the costume, and like, hey, can I take the picture? And they're more than happy to accommodate and stuff. So
I'm just happy to see people representing TOS. You know,
yes, that was because it.
the farther we get away from it, it's like it feels like less and less people are digging on it. It's like so I
Yeah, there's
love
a lot
seeing
of
it. Yeah, speaking of TOS, don't
yes,
see many
another.
Andorians. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I think the most I saw was there's a lot of people dressed up like Tindy from Lower Decks, but there were some Andorians there, so it was kind of interesting to see. It's like, oh hey, it's an Andorian, so I was kind of excited about seeing them. If you do a close up, excuse me, on the last picture, you see the green wristband. That was the wristband they were talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was your vaccination because you don't have it, you're not getting in, and it makes perfect sense because people want to be safe, they want to protect themselves, protect their friends and family, and their kids and their grandma and grandpa and all that. So it was
Oh,
good to
absolutely.
see that. Um, this guy here, I saw him and his wife's uniform, and it's like way different. It wasn't an overseas bought costume, but it looks spot on from the
It
TV show.
really looks.
So
Wow.
the guy said this is. He said he got it from some German fan club, and
Oh, the legendary German jumpsuits.
yep. So this is
Oh,
it.
I've heard stories of those, but I've never
I
actually seen one.
I didn't either. I thought it was just a myth,
Wow.
but that's true. This is one of the true
I mean,
jumpsuits, and
that looks screen accurate.
it is. When I was there, it's spot on. You can't.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so. But then this guy was like the most popular because he always
Oh,
did the
I
Kirk
like he's got
moves.
the tongs.
Yeah, the tongs with the earbug.
Very nice.
So, but yeah, so he took the show because everybody wanted to take a picture with him. So it was kind of Borg. There was a Borg cube there, quite a few Borgs there too. So people dressed up like Borgs, all different
Yeah,
flavors.
speaking of Borg,
Yes, this guy did exceptionally well as for a Borg costume. So yes, the
and
infamous
there
Ann
is yes.
Wheaton. She was. I knew she always goes to Will's shows. So she was walking going somewhere, and I screamed her name, and she came over and took a quick photo. So I was
Nice.
quite excited to get to meet her, to get to talk to her. She was like kind of in a hurry, so but it's like, hey, she jumped in for a picture and then took off. So
Oh, that's nice and
that was nice of her. So
sharp looking admiral's uniform, by the way.
yes, and it's one of the ones from bought overseas. So it's
Okay.
I don't think I've never. Last time I seen one was like when Brad Pence had one 20 years ago or something. So I've never ever been able to buy one. It's like, oh, I like to buy one, could never find one, and they started making them. So and you have the Spock. Spock with the whale.
Yeah, that was
That was
great.
quite hilarious. I've seen others do that type of costume. Then you had your scants.
With a very styling monster maroon.
Yes, the colors definitely popped.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to be a strong male to be able to wear scant for sure. I don't think I could do it, but but there was quite a few of them out there though. That was unusual. All the years it's been out since what 80
87.
some 87, but now we're
But
at 2022, and I've seen at least 4 or 5 guys there that weekend that was wearing the scants.
yeah, it's kind of one of those things that it's sort of crossed over from ludicrous to beloved. Just everything softens with time. And that,
Yeah,
I think the scant is kind of one of those things. And it's almost like it's a very Trek kind of thing. And to wear it is to celebrate Trek.
yeah, exactly. And they were very nice guys, and talk some Trek and jobs, and everything kind of mixed in all together. So they're really nice, and that's one thing I've noticed after doing Star Wars for a long time and then crossing over back to Trek. It's to me it was like night and day. It feels more open, more diverse. Uh, Everybody's welcomed. It's like kind of a good family feeling, and it's family friendly con as well. So I really enjoyed it, and just it was just fun talking to people, and everybody would strike up conversations with each other, just like they would at work or on the street, or standing in line, and it just everybody loves Trek, and you just started talking about it. What's your favorite show? Who's your favorite character, and what are you here to see? What do you plan to do today? And those types of conversations took place that whole weekend. So then the big part was the main panel. So walked across the way, then the humongous panel room. Then I think the first 5 rows were the VIPs, reserved sitting. Then everybody after that. So we did the VIP. So there was a couple times we sat right in front, because we sat in front for the Enterprise, set up for the Picard, set up for Lower Decks. Lower Decks was the best, because right at the beginning, everybody was screaming. Everybody was chanting Lower Decks.
Hmm.
So they kind of they showed us footage from the show before it hit the internet. So
Oh,
that's a good thing about some of these cons now, that they'll show footage before it hits the actual interweb. So we got to see the trailer, we got to see some behind the scenes stuff, and we got to see some funny stuff where someone actually gave Boimler the actual Tom Paris plate. That was hilarious. He said, "Well, now I finally got my own plate." Um, they had so you had Jack Ransom, Tindy, Boimler, and Mariner, and Mike Mahan on the end, who created Lower Decks. So yeah, so the Enterprise panel was great, because I mean Enterprise has been off the air for 20 years.
I man, I'm feeling old.
Yeah,
I remember when that
so
was the new show.
yeah, that was they were just kind of stuck in this weird place. So they were hoping they're taking the torch and moving on, getting 7 seasons and films, and but they kind of killed it. So they had really good stories and stuff about working on the show, the last day, and things of that nature. But Connor Trenier and Dominic Keating, I would highly suggest, because it's funny and hilarious, and very entertaining, and they're they'll talk about behind the scenes stuff, and very knowledgeable about various topics, and they'll have guests from the show on there. They're working to have Rick Berman on the show. They have their own podcast. it's a podcast and a YouTube channel called Shuttle Pod
Oh, that's
from
right.
their
Yes, and
one of the episodes.
we'll make that appear on the screen here like magic.
So yeah, so it's Dominic Keating and Connor Trenier, and I can't remember the female name. She's kind of like kind of like the facilitator, kind of.
Oh,
She'll do she'll do questions from fans. So if you go onto their Twitter page or their website or whatever, they'll take questions and answer the questions for you, within reason, to talk about XYZ. So, but yeah, Anthony Montgomery he was on there on the show. Dr. Flox has been on the show.
what's
Um,
Anthony singing?
oh, he was really not singing. The guy that they hired to do the MC
Oh,
don't have a very projected voice or not entertaining enough to, hey, here's Enterprise with XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. And he was but he went out there and he put it out there. He says, put your hands together for the actors from Enterprise. But he made it more entertaining. Same here. It's like, but they were hilarious. They had a band called 5 Year Mission.
oh yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they were there. They had a table. So between breaks, between panels, they would come out and play.
That's awesome.
So kind of entertain the crowd for the big show. So, and they did every right before the panel too. They had like a contest. They was giving away gift cards and things of that nature as well. So I think they did a pretty good show. Was it the best? Probably not. Not to me. I have a laundry list of things that could be done, but then I'm trying to compare them to Las Vegas, or I'm trying to compare them what they did at Celebration. Is like, well, yeah, at Celebration you did this, but here you kind of but then, like I said, you're not sure what their budget was, or how far deep they're wanting to take this thing. But they did say Star Trek Mission is going to continue, and it will be in May, last weekend of May. I want to say Labor Day, not Labor Day, but Memorial Day, and it's going to be in Seattle. But I think overall, I had a good time. I
It
can't
sounds it.
complain.
It
I
sounds
can't
it.
complain. Chicago, I don't know about Chicago. I don't know how that got picked, but I would have picked Dallas or maybe something on the east or west coast, like Orlando or Anaheim or something like that. So, but well, now at least next year it'd be at Seattle, so it'd be on the west coast, and you get to go sightseeing and do other activities. But Trek's making a comeback. We have multiple shows now. We got Paramount Plus, where you can just watch all of the old series, DS9, Voyager, whatever your flavor of Trek you want to watch, especially the new shows. And now we've got other Trek shows popping up, and hopefully maybe we'll get a fan run show somewhere one of these days. And then what's great about this year, then we get to have our own personal summit in June.
That's right.
I'm super stoked. I just want to hang out with the Klingons. I guess that's my thing. So, but I'm pretty excited because that's kind of our mini convention for us.
Yes.
That's kind of how I see it, because Star Wars has their own little 501st Rebel Legion party. I think it's finally our turn to have our little shindig for the year.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yes,
Looking forward to it.
I agree. So I'm kind of looking forward to Summit. So if you haven't bought your tickets or meals, go get them. Go do it. You got time's running out,
That's right.
and
Links
it's.
will be here at the bottom. So sign up. Sign up for the summit, sign up for the dinners, the banquets.
If you come, you can get an autograph from me, and that'll be free.
Yeah.
See, that's a heck of a
But
deal.
he
You can't beat that.
but he charges for selfies, and
Exactly. Selfies at the.
don't make direct eye contact
Yes,
with the celebrity.
yes. Selfies at the table.
All
Um,
right. Well, I think we're going to wrap things up. But thank you for your away team report. It sounds
Well, I
like you had a great
appreciate it,
time.
and it's if you are interested in the Star Trek conventions, go check out Star Trek Mission Seattle. That should be changing over soon from Chicago. Watch out for Las Vegas at the end of August, and I think January, February next year is a Star Trek cruise. So
Yes.
that's almost a little more intimate since you're on a boat. So, but thank you, Ken, for letting me be part of the show and
Oh,
share some information about Star Trek Mission Chicago.
my pleasure. It was great having you. And everyone, we'll see you at Summit.